Okay, so today's Lunch and Learn was actually a suggestion by Brenda. So thank you, Brenda, for bringing that. And she asked about, she wants to find resources to help her continuing learning how to use the Google tools, which I think is absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to show you some of these places where you can go. Google actually has some really, really awesome resources. And I want to show you that to help you kind of self-navigate through your own learning experience. So I'm going to throw in some links in the chat. So here's the first link. Google has what's called the Teacher Center. And I am going to share my screen so you can see what I am talking about. Oh, lots of meeting notifications. Okay, so you are seeing my screen here. And you can see I am in something called the Teacher Center for Google for Education. And this is sort of like the one-stop area. So if you're going to go anywhere, I would start here. And it has so much, like it's just so much in here. And you can go through all of these little tabs and I can explain. So there are training courses. So if you click on that, there's a whole bunch of courses and it shows you how long, basically how long it takes. There are 13 units, so you could do 1 unit here or there if you have an hour. And you kind of self-navigate through that. And then there's an advanced one. So that's a good place to start if you wanted to kind of do a whole overview of all the tools. And it kind of walks you through the basics, and then you can go to the more advanced one. And what these do, these actually set you up. There's a certification called the Google Certified Educator, and there's a level 1 and a level 2. And we can talk more about that as well. I've done both. I also am a Google certified trainer. So I have been wanting to build a sort of, I don't know if I want to say course because they already have the course, but sort of like a study group maybe. And where whoever wants to be a certified educator, we could kind of find some time to meet maybe once a week to come together to discuss any questions, discuss any confusion, discuss any difficulties, where you're at, to kind of, I know personally it helps me to stay on pace if someone else is there to hold me accountable. I have a real hard time. Like there's so many great free courses out there, but I have a real hard time just doing it on my own. So like having an accountability, I call them accountability buddies, to keep you on pace if this is something you really want to do. So you could go there. Then there's these product guides. Yeah, Alina, this is probably something we could do this summer. Yeah, that might be a good idea. These product guides break it down by actual thing. So if you were like, I just really want to focus on Google Classroom, you can go there. And it's real simple. It starts off like it looks nice and clean, getting started. And then you can explore topics one by one. And it has this whole nice real list to get you started with Google Classroom. There are videos, and then they have some tips and tricks for you, which makes it really nice to do. So there's a whole bunch of product guides like that. This again explains the certifications. Which were those courses, and that they do cost money, but they're not very expensive. They're $10 for the level 1 and $25 for the level 2. And I've done both. And, even with the study group, we could all log on to a Google Meet together. If we're like, okay, we want to take the test. Like if we set a deadline, which is helpful too. It's like, we want to take the test on like August 1st. And so that, okay, we're gonna study for the test, and we all meet at a certain time to do the test. We can do it in a group together and help each other out. They're not against that. They just want to make sure it's you that's taking the test, even if you're being helped by someone else. Because they're all about using your resources too. And then they have more overview of other programs. So I also did the certified trainer program, which is the next level. They have a certified innovator program. And this dynamic learning project is something new that I just noticed, and I'm going to check out myself. And then they have even more resources. So you can see there's resources for professional development. There's resources for lesson ideas and materials, product training, resources from Google. And then they even have a whole distance learning page. So I'm going to click on that. And so you can see they have a site like Teach from Home site, which is really a nice looking site. And they have a whole bunch they have a toolkit you can download. And then you choose, is this for families, teachers, or schools? So like if you wanted to point families here, you could point them here so they can navigate and learn how to use the tools that you want them to use as well. So you could open these up, and it kind of gives you like an idea of like Guardian's Guide to Classroom. That's kind of cool. Guardian's Guide to Chromebooks, security and privacy. So Guardian's Guide to Google Meet. So it gives you some ideas on how to support your families. There's even get help with schoolwork. And then there's a bunch of stuff for you as a teacher. So, getting started with your Google Meets calls. How do you live stream? Because you can do that in a Google Meet. And then all these other tools that you want to do to manage your classroom. But let's say you want to become a certified educator level 1. You would take the course and then you would register for the exam, which is a different platform. So first you do the training course, and it kind of brings you here. You choose which one. If you think you already have all the things for the level 1, you could probably breeze right through it and just take the test for $10 and have that badge, and then go to the level 2. But if you wanted to start training, you can go here, and it brings you to their training platform, which is super cool. So this is also something new that Google just released. It's this new training platform. And here it took me straight to the fundamentals training, which is that level 1. And it shows you like all the units that you're going to go through. And then you just hit get started. And it navigates through the course with you. So here, I'll show you what it looks like. It has a little introduction, what you're going to learn in this unit. So this unit is getting ready to use technology in the classroom, what they will cover, and what skills you might need in order to do this unit. And then you just hit next. And I love this because it tells you expected time, 23 minutes. I think it's a little overestimated, in my opinion. Depends, I guess, on your own speed for learning. But they usually have something to read about. They have some questions. They have a spot usually to reflect. And then they also have examples, sometimes in a quote, and sometimes in videos from other people. And then you have a spot to set goals, which I really love. That's a new feature in this. But I'm going to go out of this one. Yeah. I'm going to show you. I'm going to go to the home part of this training platform. And there is much more than just fundamentals. So you can get training, distance learning for educators. They have recommendations. These are all the trainings in the training center: Chromebook training, advanced training, certified trainer course, digital citizenship and safety, tools for diverse learning, how to support English language learners, and distance learning for educators. But there's even, those are the recommended, right? So the Teacher Center, if you hit view all, it takes you and it shows you all of them. And you can filter by how quick or short they are, and it will show you all the different ones that you can take. So I just hit here also to topic, and there is like, I mean, you can go even further. Like if you wanted to do YouTube, there's a whole YouTube training section. So if you wanted to learn how to do YouTube, you can do that. But it has a ton of stuff. And then as you find things that you think you may want to do, so I was poking around in this. You can see you have your profile. If I click on my profile, where does it bring me? Oh, all right. So I have favorites, and I had clicked the little heart, and so it kind of threw it into the favorites. So if it's something that you think you want to do, but maybe not do right now, and you wanted to do something else instead, you could favorite them and then come back to your favorites and be like, yep, that's the one I want to do. And then you can just explore. I mean, they go in depth, like Google Ads. That's probably something you don't need to worry about. Google Marketing Platform, probably not something you need to worry about. So a lot of these other things are, they have a lot of stuff for the Google Suite people. But we mostly will focus on the Google for Education one. And then they break it down by higher ed. If you were in higher ed, dynamic learning project, which I have to explore more about that. And then the Teacher Center is where we were before. This is the Teacher Center. I kind of went through that pretty fast. I'm going to pause for a minute and see what kind of questions you may have and comments. Is there something that maybe you want to learn about and you're not sure if it's in here, or you want me to show you where it is?
I'm just wondering, hi, it's Brenda.
Hi, Brenda.
Hi. Just wondering, does it touch upon Gmail in here?
Ooh, let's look. So let's search Gmail. So I know it definitely does in the, oh yeah. So in the fundamentals training, it has that. It looks like there's one for students. It has it. So if you were to Google that, and then if we go over here, did I have a product guide for Gmail? Oh, I don't see one. You're right. Resources. Let's see. Product training. That's a good question. Resource type. Yeah, that would be good to find more on Gmail.
Yeah, because I was just thinking about trying to organize my Gmail more into folders and things like that, which I have not done.
Yes, it is very helpful to do that. So I know if we go to, if we start this here, Unit 4. Okay, I know there's another spot where they have resources. So Google's in the process right now, and it's kind of confusing of switching over to new platforms that look cleaner and newer. Okay, Google trainings. First day Google trainings. Aha, Jenny is in there giving me something. Okay, first day trainings. Oh, no. That's not what I wanted. I guess I didn't have that. Okay, so Jenny typed in something. What do you got here, Jenny? Yeah, so yeah, Jenny's link there gives you something. It's not as pretty looking, but also I have found that YouTube, if you go to YouTube, I usually find a lot in there as well. So Gmail organization tips. And how to get your Gmail inbox under control 2019 tutorial. Here's another one that would be good, which I love.
Writing's not.
Ooh, let me mute that and let it play through the ad. So I'm going to show you a tip also for using YouTube videos that I like to do. As soon as this ad, there we go. So here's a video you really want to watch. You're like, oh, it's 9 minutes. Goodness gracious. Sometimes the people talk really slowly, in my opinion, and I want it to go a little faster, and you can do that. So if you go to the settings here, you can playback speed, you can change it. So it's going a little faster or even more fast. It depends on what your preference is and the speed of the normal already. So that's a little tip to help you guys get through that. Yeah, Patty says same for Google Drive. Yeah, Google Drive. I know that has definitely... Oh, they don't have one for Drive either. Weird. So I bet they're coming out with one. And I do know that Google Drive and both Gmail are part of this, the level 1 and level 2 fundamentals. So I would have to figure out which one these are. Because I remember doing a lot with that. It is very helpful because Drive actually has a lot of tools in there that you may not know. Like you can color code the folders and you can favorite things. And there's a whole like planning section in Google Drive that's kind of new. But yeah, Google Drive, you definitely use folder system if you can as much as possible. And nest folders inside of nest in folders really helps. I wonder if they have... Oh, I don't like that it does that. No, I guess not. The basics. Okay, this is all Google Slides. Okay. You guys are asking the tough ones I don't quite have. I wonder if we go back to here. Right. There we go. Well, that's not what we want. Google Drive. Still not what we want. All right, so it's not perfect right now. But I think they are building it out because this looks a lot nicer than their old training program. And I think they're still building out a bunch of stuff in there. Yeah. What else? Any other questions or comments?
Hi, it's Alina.
Hi, Alina.
I know I would be interested in doing the Google Certified Educator courses this summer.
Yeah.
And maybe even like I've done a lot with Google already, so I can probably do the first one fairly quickly. But so I was thinking of starting that one in June when we have some of our teacher daytime, because I know I'm going to end up relying heavily on Google again next year. And if there's anybody else who's interested, I think your idea of having accountability buddies to work through this kind of stuff would be nice. So if there's, I don't know if there's a way for us to make like little group or something of people who do that this summer that we can connect and work together.
Yeah. Are other people interested in that?
Well, I might be. However, I think I'm probably behind others. So I'm kind of on the fence. Like maybe I should do it on my own.
So
but then I also would like support though.
Yeah. So I think the idea would be to everybody kind of does it on their own. Then we come together. So we might I could draft up like a pacing guide. Like, all right, let's set a date where we think we can, which is reasonable to get through all this work, that we want to take the test. And then maybe find time every week to meet, and we can kind of set up a pacing guide so you guys can work through the material at your own speed. And then we can come together and work out any problems, talk about any surprises or things that you think is like, wow, I didn't know that they did this, or this is going to come in really handy, and have like sort of that reflection process piece, because that'll help retain the information better. And even like Alina, I know that you're pretty advanced in Google, and I was too when I took the level 1 test, but I still learned things. Like there was still some like, oh, I didn't know that, like.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was thinking.
I was good at the things that I knew how to do, right? But
right, exactly. And that's what I was thinking. I definitely still want to do the level 1. But I mean, yeah, and even Brenda, if we're not going at the same pace, I mean, even still being able to reflect on the tools and things, just having other people to talk about what we're learning rather than doing it completely isolated. Like Erica was saying, like even if I'm further ahead, that doesn't matter. We can still talk about the tools that we're working on and how we can use them.
And I can even set up a space for everyone, maybe a Google Classroom or a Google Community space, so that I can submit the pacing guides, and then a little space somewhere where you guys can kind of have some chatter. Maybe you're stuck somewhere, but we're not meeting for another 4 days, right? And you're like, who got through this part? I don't quite understand it. And you guys can support each other as well.
Yeah, I think in that case, that would be great. Yeah, I think my problem is I have a lot of anxiety around computers. So
this will help you. This will be a friendly, safe space. I promise.
Right. You have to throw something new at me and I'm like, oh my God. And I was like pretty amazed that I was able to figure out Zoom, and I've been able to communicate with my students,
Yeah.
But to be honest, I have a lot of anxiety about it. And I'm really working hard to, deal with that and get over that. So I really definitely want to do this course and go through all the units.
Yay. And I want to support you with that, Brenda. It's just like anything you learn, it takes practice, right? You don't know it right away. In anything, if you go out and play softball, it's not like you know how to do it the first time, right? So you learn, you build your skills, and you get better at it. And over time, it becomes like muscle memory. And that's the same with technology. Over time, as you're learning new tools and new things, you'll start. It's digital literacy, really. Honestly, it's a type of literacy to navigate the digital world. And the more you do it and the more practice you have it, the more you realize and you start recognizing the structure of a website. And you're like, oh, that's where the menu would be, and that's where I would find help, and that's where you just become better at it, because they're usually, if it's built well, it's usually a lot in the same spots, or there's a way to find it.
Right.
So,
I think my issue is that I stopped working when my children were born, and I was very
yeah,
fortunate to stay home and raise them. And
yeah,
then when I went back, I was
totally.
like, oh boy, it's a whole new world. I'm pretty anxious about this.
Yeah. Yeah. And the technology does not wait for anybody. Let me tell you, it is my job to stay up on this. And I sometimes I'm like, I don't know what the latest thing is right now. It's like I barely I don't feel like I'm ever fully proficient in anything, and then it changes, right? So but I enjoy that at the same time, because now it's something I've done so much of that I'm comfortable in that sort of like, I don't quite know how to use this space, and I like the process of figuring it out. And that's what I hope to get you guys at, is in that space of like, the process of figuring it out is part of the fun, and learning a new tool and clicking a new button and figuring out where that takes you, and knowing that you're not going to break it. It's just like, you're not going to break it. There's nothing you're going to do that's going to totally destroy your device or break the internet for the world. So you will be fine.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I see a couple more comments. Oh, good. Karen's interested. Yay. Cindy, she's giving you a little shout out support. Brenda, you are not alone. Yep, I've seen a lot. I've worked a lot with Cindy since we started, and I've seen tons and tons of growth in you, Cindy. So keep going. Anyone else? Let's see. Cindy says, thank you. And Jenny writes, Cindy is a rock star. Yes. Yep. So thank you, everyone. We're about out of time unless someone else has another question or comment. And if not, so what I can do is, oh, Patty, is that a clap or, oh, it's a clap. Okay. Is now that we have this idea of starting a group together, we can start planning that. So maybe I will, if you want to join this group, why don't you send me an email so that I know who wants to be in this group, first of all. And I will obviously open it up to anyone in the SU, but I want to make sure that you're included. And we will start from there. We can choose a first meeting to kind of figure out how to structure this, and maybe set a date for taking the certified level 1 test. And then after we take the certified level 1 test, we can extend it to the level 2 if you guys wanted to go beyond. Does that sound good? Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much. I will be in touch with you all. Have a good afternoon, hot and sweaty afternoon.
Thanks, Erica.
You're welcome.